Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Prabhupada once said that all of these temples that are opened all over the world, they're all my temples. And in every temple, there's a floor. And every floor needs to be washed. And I can't go to every temple to wash every floor. So please help me. Help me wash the floors. Help me wash the pots. Help me cook the prasad. Help me string the garlands. Engaging. So when you are engaged in the service around the temple, don't ever feel that it's some arduous work. You should always think of it as, I'm helping Prabhupada. I'm helping Prabhupada wash the floor. And then it becomes joyful. When you can imagine yourself sitting. Prabhupada showed us how to wash the floor. Just like he showed us how to cook prasadam. He cleaned the pots. He showed us how to decorate the altar. So when you're down washing the floor, just imagine Prabhupada's beside you. And you're washing the floor together. And you're saying, Prabhupada, I can do it, I can do it. You know, you don't have to do it. I'll do it, Prabhupada. I'll string these garlands. You know, I'll decorate the deities. I'll distribute these books.
One was a young girl that had been adopted. The custody of this girl had been given to me and my husband. We were young ourselves. I was barely 22, he was barely 25, she was 16. So now we're her parents, and we were not much older than her, actually. And the whole idea of her becoming our daughter was Srila Prabhupada, that he was asked by this girl's brother, who was a devotee, how could we help his sister, whose life was very miserable and not looking very good for her under the circumstance. But she had become attracted to Srila Prabhupada's Bhaktivedanta, the original old one from the Macmillan Company. So he asked Prabhupada, you know, she's coming, she's interested, but legally she has to stay with the mother. And the mother was really the one that was not such a good mother, you know, the truth must be said. So Srila Prabhupada thought of him, and he said, well, perhaps some Sundarmalati can adopt her. So, you know, we were, as I said, very young, but we didn't think, oh, how can we do that, you know. We just, okay. You know, and I went to court and I found out how to, you know, what the process was, and I took her mother to court. The judge considered the evidence and the fact what was being presented. She goes, well, it's a little unusual. The mother is 22 and the daughter is 16, but I award custody to this couple. So that was the beginning of the relationship. she thought, now I can go stay with the devotees all day. I won't have to go to school. And Prabhupada said, sensing this, although she hadn't said it, but I knew that's what she was thinking. He said, and you must finish school. So I was able to get her enrolled in a school nearby the temple. And she was going every day, Sari Tila, and she was doing very good in her studies. And at the same time, she wanted to be all day at the temple. So Prabhupada was returning to San Francisco, and she had something to tell him that she thought, when he hears this, he'll tell me not to go to school. So during the darshan, she raised her hand and she said, Swamiji, I'm going to school, but the boys are bothering me. And she's 16 years old, turning 17, very beautiful girl. The boys are bothering me, and they're asking, they want to come and see me after school, which is, things happen. So Srila Prabhupada said, oh? When they asked for your, he said, oh? He was not looking disturbed. He goes, oh? When they ask for your address, you give them the address of the temple. This way, when they come to see you, they'll see Krishna.
One day we were in the temple, seven very place, and I happened to also the Arati was over, and Mangal Arati, and some devotees are there. There, I think Dhananjay is there, I am there, and few other devotees, boys and girls. We happened suddenly found that they're knocking in the door. Just like a safe, like big, thick, nearly, if not 12 inch, at least 10 inch, thick door, wooden door, wonderful with the golden color, and had a oval window, glass window. And suddenly you are surprised to see Prabhupada is in front of us. And Prabhupada suddenly said, what are you doing? He said, Prabhupada, we are performing Tulsi Arati. Really? And Prabhupada looked at, and so looked at us, he said, you are not doing Tulsi Arati. Yes, you are doing that. No, you are not doing Tulsi Arati. Prabhupada, this is the Tulsi Devi, we are doing Arati. This is not Tulsi Devi. He was shocked. It's not Tulsi Devi. So most probably, as I remember, I think Dhananjay, he told Prabhupada, it may be a cousin of Tulsi. Then Prabhupada said, we worship Tulsi Devi. Then he said, it may be a cousin of Tulsi. We don't worship cousin of Tulsi.
But the first thing that happened when Prabhupada got to Dallas, it was before DFW, before Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport. It was just called Love Field. Prabhupada comes in an American Airlines, lands on the tarmac. We're there to greet him. We usher Prabhupada into the VIP room to Love Field. And Prabhupada hops on this makeshift Vyasasana. And without any preliminaries, Prabhupada says, so, there are 3 ways to fly. And he starts talking about 3 ways to fly. And I'm standing in the crowd next to this reporter from the Dallas Morning News, which is a respected paper in the American Southwest. And she's got her pad ready, this lady. So Prabhupada said, yes, formally, simply by vibrating mantra, yogi could travel from Haridwar to Prayag. So she's writing down mantra, 3 ways to fly. I can see, I'm looking over it. She's writing 3 ways to fly, mantra. And then Prabhupada says, and then there is pigeon. Prabhupada says, pigeon. Formerly, certain pigeon they could train to carry from one planet to another. So she's writing pigeon, mantra, pigeon. And then Prabhupada says, and then there's your machine. You have these machines. So this reporter raises her hand and she says, were these ways to fly, these other ways to fly you mentioned, were they more efficient than today's 747s, jumbo jets? And without hesitation, Prabhupada said, oh yeah. For one thing, there were no, and then Prabhupada hesitated. He was trying to think of a word.
because what had happened that summer was there was the first what was called skyjacking. Some terrorists had commandeered a plane in the Middle East. So Prabhupada says, so the lady had asked, were these ways to fly more efficient? And Prabhupada said, oh yes, for one thing there were no, and then he leans over to Satsu Maharaj and he says, how you say that, Satsu? Jack-highs? Hijacks, Prabhupada, hijacks. Yes, there were no hijacks. But this lady, she wasn't about to be dismissed so easily. So she said, well, if you know all these ways to fly, Swami, then why did you fly American Airlines today? She thought she had him, you know. So again, without missing a beat, Prabhupada said, to be one with you. Very charmingly, he smiled and he pointed, to be one with you. And so when that lady heard that, she turned to me and she said, you know, I like that man.
There was one story in the Leelamrita about Srila Prabhupada when he was over in Stinson Beach recovering from his heart attack, and they brought all the pictures over and in the you know, to decorate his cabin, and because people used to come and visit, and so they wanted to make it look nice. So one day they had a piano there, and Prabhupada decided he wanted to play the piano because Prabhupada, you know, liked to play the harmonium, so he had the piano. So they moved it out from the wall, and thud, they hear a thud, something behind the piano. So Prabhupada said, what's that? What's that noise? Because Prabhupada never missed you know, a beat. Prabhupada, you know, was very perceptive. What's that? Oh, nothing, Prabhupada, nothing, you know, Mataji was saying. Nothing, Prabhupada, nothing. So, no, what's that? What did I hear? Thud, behind the piano. He says, oh, Prabhupada's just a picture, Prabhupada. Oh, picture? Well, let me see, what's that picture? So she had hid the picture of Lord Nrsingadev behind the piano. You know, it was wedged in behind the piano in the wall. And Prabhupada said, what is Nrsingadev doing hiding behind the piano? Nrsingadev doesn't hide behind the piano. So the Mataji said, oh, Prabhupada, it's so scary. I didn't want to show that picture, you know, because we have so many guests coming over here and they're afraid of that picture. And Prabhupada said, yes, the demons should be afraid of that picture. They should be afraid of Nrsinga. You know, and the devotees should relish the sight of Nrsinga. You know, and in this way, Prabhupada said, you never hide the picture of Nrsinga. It should always be displayed prominently. And you have to explain to people, and you have to preach, you're forced to preach how the Lord comes in many different forms.
You know, when we went to that Gaudiya Math opening, the Chaitanya Saraswati Math, a devotee there quoted one of their acharyas, and he said that Srila Prabhupada blasted a hole through the mountain of the false ego of the West. And so through that hole that he blasted, that all other you could say Gaudiya movements are going through that hole and preaching into the West. And so it's only by his mercy that people are able to do anything in the Western world. It's only by his you could say his endeavor and his divine determination that brought him to the West.
For all those younger generations out there, like second generations like me now, it could actually be really easy for us if we take to what Srila Prabhupada gave us. He gave us so many wonderful literatures out there. He gave us so many beautiful temples. Back then, in those days when Prabhupada was here, he had all the disciples, you know, do stuff like Mali Yamuna and Gurudas Prabhu, and that original group came to England and started the temple here. And we read about like how much they went through to start all that. But then we go to the temple, and it's just like, you know, we take it for granted. It's, you know, the Bhaktivedanta Manor or Soho Street. It's, you know, a beautiful temple. But You know, sometimes us younger generation, we take it for granted. And we take Srila Prabhupada for granted. But if you actually dive deep into his books and his teachings and you know, watch his movies and try to connect with him, not just on like, oh, there's Srila Prabhupada, I've known him my whole life, I've seen him my whole life, but actually on a spiritual level, you can actually gain an amazing amount of benefit, unlimited. You know, words can't even explain it. So, you know, the temples are there, they're already, you know, established for us. The books are there, they're already established for us. Everything's there. Just take to Srila Prabhupada's process what he has given us and live our lives happily in Krishna service and Harinam Sankirtan and taking prasadam and just everything that Srila Prabhupada wanted us to do.
And even though I haven't seen him in real life, I feel like through his books he's always with us, and by reading them I can connect to him and be with him.
Like my whole life is because of him.
So any time that I've come across any difficulty in my life, spiritually or even materially, I've always known to take a page out of Srila Prabhupada's life, because through any difficulty materially or externally, he always knew that Krishna was with him and he was always spiritually strong. And to see that example of Srila Prabhupada has always helped to guide me through my spiritual life.
We need to spend as much time with Srila Prabhupada disciples as possible, because they're our gateway towards Srila Prabhupada, and via them we can access Srila Prabhupada. And so I'd advise everyone, our age, any age, to spend time with them and get to know them, know their memories of Srila Prabhupada, because that's how we're going to get to know Srila Prabhupada.
I just have a good relationship with and a good kind of like a special attraction for 26 2nd Avenue, because I lived there, well, in the area for 2 years, and I would whenever devotees were visiting from outside, from around the world, I would be the one. It was my service to kind of open it up for them and show them the inside and the back where Prabhupada's rooms were. And just the reactions I got were just unbelievable. Like, you know, there would never be anyone who would just, you know, oh, it's 26 2nd Avenue, that's nice, this place is really cool. It was always like, someone's crying, someone's like completely silent and so grave, and someone's just like, mostly people were just crying because the place is so, like, it's a tirtha. It's more than a tirtha, it's a maha tirtha. That's what they call it. Anyone around there calls it the maha tirtha, because it's just like the epicenter where ISKCON and Krishna consciousness in the West was born, you know? So that's such a special place. And I just encourage everyone to go on that pilgrimage there to New York City and to visit Tompkins Square Park. I really took it for granted because I lived there. So it was just like, you know, just going to 26 2nd Avenue, but just, it always reminded me when someone would come that, you know, this is not, I shouldn't take this lightly. This is a really special place. I imagine, you know, 5,000 years from now, like this, and the movement is just like massive, just like you know, thousands of more temples and millions of devotees, and this is where it all started, like 40 years ago. It's unbelievable. So that's a special thing. I feel that's my connection to Prabhupada, you know, 26 2nd Avenue, New York City.
He's my whole world, and I love him so much.
Once they're gone, then they're gone, and they're honestly our access to Srila Prabhupada. So once that time's up, then we can never get it back, and we don't want to ever have regrets and feel like, oh, we could have known Srila Prabhupada more. So, like, the time is like here and now. We need to make that effort.
Even though I didn't meet him, I feel like I know him, and that's a really special feeling to have. You can't get that feeling with anyone else, I don't think. And yeah, he's just everything.
As youth, we don't have that opportunity to meet Srila Prabhupada, but through his books and through so much footage of Srila Prabhupada that, you know, we can obtain the following Srila Prabhupada. When I started watching that, I was so amazed. I don't know how I'd never seen it before, but it was like suddenly I was seeing Srila Prabhupada move in ways I'd never seen before, and like it wasn't just the Murti on the altar, it was like coming to life. And so that's something I really would suggest for all the youth to do, to get to know Srila Prabhupada, and how we can be thankful to him, because for us, sorry. It's really hard for me to talk. Sorry. I'm so thankful to Srila Prabhupada, because without him we wouldn't know Krishna, we wouldn't have any connection to Lord Chaitanya's movement. So I knew this would happen. It's always very hard for me to talk about Srila Prabhupada, because I know that there's something deep down which is a love which he's given me an opportunity to save myself and go back to Krishna in this lifetime. And for that, there's no gratitude that we could give enough to thank Srila Prabhupada for what he's done for us.
Any question?
What happens to a person if we just give him out on the street one simply wonderful?
Well, that is wonderful. Simply wonderful. He has not tasted such wonderful sweet in his life. Therefore you give him wonderful, and because he is eating that wonderful sweet, one day he will come to your temple and become wonderful. Therefore it is simply wonderful. So go on distributing this simply wonderful. Your philosophy is simply wonderful. Your prasadam is simply wonderful. You are simply wonderful. And your Krishna is simply wonderful. The whole process of simply wonderful. And he acts wonderfully, and it is acting wonderfully. Who can deny it?
Prabhupada is simply wonderful.
That's all right. You can become, everyone